What is up, everyone? I'm Ryan Garcia, and I'm here with my friend and co-host Dylan Backer, and thankfully we get to talk about a New York Knicks win. Now, coming into this game, I think everyone knew just how important it was for this team to win Game 2. You don't want to go to Miami down 0-2 in the series. And with Jimmy Butler out of the game, this was a must-win game. Right now, was this the best game of basketball the Knicks have ever played? It was this, the absolute beatdown type of game that you want to see the Knicks have? No, but did they get a win? Absolutely. And kind of, Dylan and I were talking a little bit before we started recording. We'd rather have an unimpressive win than an impressive loss. It's the postseason. It doesn't matter how you win. It just matters that you do. And now, you head to Miami. Series is tied at 2. I understand there's no Jimmy Butler in that second game, but we didn't have Randle in the first game. And, we talked about this we talked about this a lot, actually, kind of after we recorded that Game 2 preview and that Game 1 reaction, talking about how important Randle is. I know that you were pretty animated after we were talking. There were a lot of people who had a lot to say about how Randle's absence didn't matter. Yes, he shot 8 for 18 from the field, which isn't inherently, insane, right? And 3 for 9 from 3 isn't insane, but he gives you 25 points, 12 rebounds, 6 from 6 from the free throw line, 8 assists, only 3 turnovers, only 1 foul. I thought he played a pretty strong game for his first game back. You saw the presence you missed right then and there, the rebounding, the scoring, the aggressiveness. Dylan, what did you see from Randle that was really impressive to you in Game 2?
Right. I mean, Randle played amazing. Obviously he didn't have the most beautiful game I've ever seen him have. I've seen better games from Randle, but he had a very, very good game considering that he just came back from an injury. 25 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, like you said, nearly getting a triple-double. 8 of 18 from the field is not amazing, like you said, but, you take it. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. 3 of 9 from 3. At least he hit a couple threes. We know he likes to shoot a lot, so of course he's going to miss some here and there. But something I really liked too was that it wasn't just him doing stuff too. It was, Barrett and Brunson also doing things as well. The 3 of them together, working together cohesively as a unit, because oftentimes we question how well they can coexist together. They did really well last night, all 3 of them. Jalen Brunson, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 10 of 19 from the field, 6 of 10 from 3, which is a very good sign to see after he went 0 of 7 from 3 in Game 1. That's very, very encouraging to see. Very pleased with Brunson's performance, especially in the second half. He started the game off pretty slow, didn't look right. Maybe ankle was still bothering a little bit. Second half, he just turned it up. Second half, he had 23 points. In the fourth quarter specifically, he had 10 points and went 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. Hit some big clutch shots down the stretch, made some nice plays. Very, very good game out of Brunson. Much needed game out of him as well after having that rough Game 1. Love to see that. RJ Barrett as well. He continued his postseason redemption that we've been thankfully seeing so far. He had another 20-point outing, 24 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 8 of 17 from the floor, 5 of 9 from three-point land. 5 of 9 from three-point land. That is very, very encouraging from RJ. We haven't been seeing RJ's 3 fall much of the year. It's been topsy-turvy with him. Some games he hits some games he just can't hit anything, can't come close. He was on it last night. He had 16 of those points in the first quarter. Really kept the Knicks in it. They were playing from behind most of this game. Oddly enough, without Jimmy Butler, you would have thought the Knicks would have kind of just, taken control of this from the opening tip to the final buzzer. No, the Heat were in control most of this game. And the Heat looked like for a moment in that fourth quarter they were going to pull away. Going up by 6 with about 7 minutes left, you started to worry, were the Heat going to pull away with this one without Butler, come away with a huge win, pretty much swing the entire series in their favor. Thankfully, we got big shots from Brunson and Josh Hart down the stretch. Speaking of Josh Hart as well, he played great as well. He started once again in place of Grimes. They had Grimes come off the bench, and Hart nearly had a triple-double. 14 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal. His efficiency wasn't amazing. He only went 4 for 11 from the field, but those 2 threes that he hit in the final minutes, those were huge. Huge. It completely took any momentum Miami could have possibly gotten away. Took it all away. And he hit some clutch free throws too down the stretch. He only went 4-7 from the line, but he hit some of those free throws clutchly down the stretch. So that was huge right there. Very impressed with the play of Josh Hart. A lot of guys did their thing. On the box score, it looks great. Obviously it was not the cleanest game I've ever seen. The defense could have been a little bit better, specifically on the three-point line. Miami had quite frankly, a little too many open looks from 3 that I was not very happy about. But what I was pleased about on our end was the three-point shooting offensively. We went 16 for 40 from three-point land, which is 40%. And Game 1, we went 7 to 34. It's a massive improvement. The three-pointers were actually falling this time. We were actually hitting our shots. Obviously it was not the most amazing game I've ever seen out of this New York Knicks team. Wasn't like you said, we take the unimpressive victory over the unimpressive loss any day of the week, especially in the playoffs. A win is a win. You take that as much as you want. So very pleased with it. Obviously it's not, like I said, not the most impressive thing I've seen, but I'm just happy that we're going to Miami tied up 1-1 and not down 2-0. So I guess I want to pivot toward this next question to you, Ryan. Isaiah Hartenstein specifically. Off the bench, he had 9 rebounds and had 4 offensive rebounds. He led the team in that category. He seemed to really kind of shift the tone down the stretch. They weren't hitting shots at one point in the fourth, but he kept getting those offensive rebounds, kept giving us, another opportunity to make a shot. And it kind of, gave us that chance. Okay, he kept us in it. Now we got to take advantage of that. What did you think of Hartenstein's play off the bench?
Yeah, one of the big things that, changed for the Knicks as they, I think you look at January and February as like the flip month for the Knicks, where they kind of went from, borderline kind of fun play-in team to, hey, this team's, this team's a serious playoff team. They're no joke. And part of that was Hartenstein flipping. He became a significantly more important piece of this team. Obviously, Mitchell Robinson was out. That really hurt. We thought we were going to go into a slide there. The Knicks ended up playing some pretty strong basketball. They were able to still maintain an interior presence, and a lot of that had to do with Hartenstein's excellent play. Having Mitch and Hartenstein means now, no matter what unit you have out there, you have a strong interior presence. And as you mentioned, those second chance points are really important, right? Not that the Knicks shot poorly from the field. They shot, again, 40% from 3. And 45% from the field, considering it's a postseason, really isn't that bad. But when you look at how the Knicks are going to be able to succeed in the postseason, how the Knicks are going to be able to separate themselves from other teams, it's their interior presence. It's their ability to get boards. They have plenty of guys who are strong rebounders, whether it's Josh Hart, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, and of course Isaiah Hartenstein. They can go out and they can get a lot of second chance points. They're not going to give up a lot of second chance points or opportunities to get second chance points when they're going right. And Hartenstein played a big role in that, right? Again, the Knicks' interior presence, right? That's part of, again, why Julius Randle is so important. That's interior presence, right? Getting boards, as you mentioned, second chance points. People are going to sit back and say, the Knicks barely edged out a win against the Miami team without Jimmy Butler. Who cares? It goes down as a win in the books, right? If the Knicks go on to lose this series, then yeah, you got outclassed by Miami, right? Miami was able to just outclass you. That would suck. I would hate that. I want this team to win this series, obviously. But, we can't sit here and start complaining about the types of wins we get, right? This is the postseason. We can complain in the regular season. The regular season, I think that would matter a little bit more, right? In the regular season, I think you'd say, hey, you beat a Miami team without Jimmy Butler. That's what you're supposed to do. And just kind of move on to the next day. But in the postseason, it's just about getting hot at the right time and stealing wins, right? It's no one was saying Miami stole a win when Julius Randle wasn't available in game 1, right? That was a flat out win. I'm not going to make any excuses for not having Randle. Injuries are a part of basketball, and this is a part of what the postseason is. It's a grind, right? But as you mentioned, Hartenstein, the offensive rebounds, just so crucial to this team. And another big thing that became crucial, we talked about how bad they were from 3 in game 1. That's really why they lost the game, right? A couple of big threes here and there, just some of those falling. We thought they were getting good looks. We didn't think it was a matter of Miami necessarily getting up a bunch of great contests and putting the Knicks in situations where they were taking tough shots. I thought they were taking easy shots and they weren't hitting them. I think they let game 1 kind of slip away from them. Game 2, they hit those shots. You shoot 40% from 3. That was the difference right there, right? If you want to look at the difference between game 1 and game 2, it's in the three-point shooting. They were able to get up a lot of really good shot attempts. They were able to make a lot of them. I think a big part of that is, as you mentioned, just the late game heroics from Jalen Brunson. Got to give a lot of credit to RJ Barrett, who put this team on his back in the first quarter. He was unbelievable. I know he slowed down in the second half of the game, but overall, a pretty good shooting night for Barrett. But Brunson, time and time again, we've asked Jalen Brunson to, be the leader and step up and take over a game. He's completely capable of doing it time and time again, not just in the postseason, but in the regular season as well. The Knicks have turned to Jalen Brunson. He kind of feels like the face of a changing Knicks franchise, of a team that, again, won their first postseason series in a decade, that is trying to get to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in either of our lifetimes. He is the face of that. And last night we got to see him just add another incredible game to his ledger. I really do think that Jalen Brunson is becoming that star level player, or that player that you can put on a championship type contending team. Not necessarily saying he's the first option on championship contender, but one of the leading scorers on a championship contender. And you can really just ask him to take over a game and go shot for shot with anyone. What did you see from Jalen Brunson in that fourth quarter? I feel like he's kind of just become a superhero for us now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely become a superhero for us. I mean, like I said, Miami just kept, hitting shots, and it seemed like, at one point they were going to put us away. You felt like they weren't really going to get over that hump just because they couldn't find ways to, combat them or kind of keep up. Jalen Brunson saved the day once again, which has been quite frankly the theme all season long. Been been the theme really since the beginning of the regular season, and it still is right now. The 30 points is just amazing. I'm pretty sure he's the first Knick since Carmelo Anthony in 2013 to get 30 points in a playoff game at Madison Square Garden, and Melo was there in attendance to see that, so that's pretty awesome for Brunson to see, you know what I mean? But just to kind of, talk about Brunson a little bit here, like, he's definitely become a superhero. I'm really, every time you expect him to, you're hoping that he'll do something good for us, or that he'll come through in the clutch when we're down, or we need big buckets. He comes through every time. It's not very often that he has not came through and just, hit those shots that you need or made those plays for the other guys that you need. He was doing pretty much everything down that stretch. It was pretty much just give him the ball and the rest of the guys just get out of his way. Let him go to work because he was doing everything. You know what I mean? He was taking over that game. Miami really did not have much of an answer for him in that second half especially. So really happy with what Brunson did. I'm really happy to see that after, a topsy-turvy game one. Where threes just weren't falling, nothing was really going. Really, really happy with that. Big shot after big shot. Made some nice plays. Josh Hart too, his former Villanova teammate, same thing. Big shot after big shot, making hustle plays. All that stuff right there, just them two together on the floor just feels amazing. Ever since we brought Josh Hart over, you just feel the chemistry with Brunson already there. You didn't really feel like they kind of had to build anything together. You felt like they already had it, and they probably did already have it because they played on those Villanova teams that won championships for Jay Wright in college. You know what I'm saying? So you just felt it right away the minute Josh Hart came over here. You're still feeling it right now in the postseason. It's a really good time for it to continue right now. What I really want to see in Game 3, is same thing from Brunson. Same thing. I just want to keep seeing this over and over each of these playoff games. I can't expect Brunson to drop 30 or 40 points every game. That's unfair. It's a postseason environment. It's a whole different landscape. But I just, I expect at this point, Brunson to just do his thing. I don't expect nothing less of him at this point. He's already blown away my expectations that I had before the season began. So at this point, I'm just expecting good nights from him day in and day out. I'm really pleased with what he's been doing. So what do you think about that? What do you think about how Brunson's been doing all season long?
Yeah, I've made it abundantly clear that I think that Jalen Brunson is kind of a superhero, right? Like this dude, you ask him to come up clutch, and it's raining outside, which you can hear, but he's wet like water from three, man. It's kind of funny timing, but 6 from 10 from three. This team needed that, right? This team really struggles to shoot from three at times. This team really struggles, in fourth quarter situations to find a shot creator and just get the job done, right? Again, RJ Barrett gave them the strong start, wasn't able to finish strong. That's fine. You know why? Because he can play that secondary role, because he can look to a Jalen Brunson and say, all right, my shot's a little bit off in the second half, or my shot's a little bit off in the fourth quarter, but Jalen Brunson's here. I did my part. Now Jalen Brunson's going to do his. Josh Hart playing an incredible game, in my opinion, in terms of just being a strong role player. This is when Josh Hart is at his best. He's got double-digit rebounds, gives you about 14 points, almost puts up a triple-double, is going out there and he's efficient from the field. He's hitting some big threes, right? He's doing the things that you need Josh Hart to do. But Jalen Brunson really just is, he's just that guy, right? I don't want to sound like corny here, but he's that guy, right? He has become that guy. He deserves that respect. Again, when things go south for the Knicks, when you need a bucket and it's late in the game, you go to Jalen Brunson. Those floaters, they're money. He throws up a floater. Just close your eyes. Just add 2 points to the score. You don't have to see it drop in. When he pulls up from three late in the game, he can hit big shots, right? He's just capable of doing so many things, and he's such a diverse offensive player. And this is as a small guard. We're not talking about a guy who's 6'5", 6'6", a wing, can go out there and just be bigger than some guys around him. He's one of the smallest players on the court, right? And they don't know what to do with him. They have no idea what to do with the guy. He's really just blossomed in New York. And again, to everyone who said he was overpaid, to everyone who said, why are the Knicks moving around picks and assets to try to bring in Jalen Brunson, I want to know where you are right now. I want to know what you're feeling right now, because he's showing everyone. And I think he's had a strong postseason, given the fact that the Knicks really haven't had a lot of scoring in the postseason. It feels like the offense has not really gotten itself going yet. But Brunson's been pretty strong all postseason, and I expect that to be the case going forward. The guy who's, really had a strong postseason kind of out of nowhere, or not really out of nowhere, but, after a really poor start to his postseason, RJ Barrett, right? Like, now I'm looking at him and I'm saying, we need points. RJ Barrett's got me, right? RJ Barrett's, I know that he shot well from three last night after, really, not just in the postseason, but really felt like in the second half, just losing his 3-point shot. But he's figured out, hey, I can drive to the basket. I can attack the basket. I can attack the rim, and they can't stop me. What are they going to do to stop me? He realized he's a stronger. I think he's stronger than he thinks he is. I think he's realizing that he's getting that confidence in himself. He played a really strong game. 24 points, pretty efficient. Going forward, how do you think this version of RJ Barrett's going to impact this team going forward? Because I think it really raises the ceiling of this team. We've talked about this before, If RJ Barrett's going well, this team's even better, right? And now that RJ Barrett's clicking, what do you see? How do you think that raises the ceiling of this team?
Right. I mean, RJ, we gave him, like I said, we gave him a bunch of crap after game 1 and 2 of the first round because, things just were looking off. Whatever it was, he didn't look right, wasn't making his layups, wasn't making his threes, nothing was going his way. He's changed it up completely. Now he's being aggressive. He's getting to the basket. He's not taking, bad floaters or, trying to hit bad fadeaway shots that are contested in the mid-range or any of that. He's not trying to shoot, obviously he took 9 threes last night, but it seems like he's more focused on getting to the basket rather than shooting the 3-ball, which is very, very important, because that's clearly RJ Barrett's strength. It has been his strength his entire career, so it's very encouraging to see that he's going back to that and not reverting and, settling for 3-pointers. I'm really pleased with what he's been doing. Really, really pleased with it. I think, just the way he's been playing, it makes a big difference for this Knicks team because, it kind of makes other teams realize, like, okay, we need to actually, guard this guy. We can't just, leave him alone or leave him open or whatever. We got to actually take care of this guy. We got to focus on this guy, too. Now it's not just Randle and Brunson. Now we got to worry about Barrett, too, because Barrett's clearly going to do something to us as well. You know what I mean? So, really, really, just overall really happy with what he's been doing. I'm really, really, really happy with it. Whatever adjustments he made after game 2 of the first round, keep it that way. Keep it that way. I love this version of RJ right now. I love this aggressiveness of him. I love when he tries to actually get to the basket and not try to, like I said, not try to do like floaters or any of that stuff. Really happy with that. I just want him to keep doing that. I don't really want him to change much else in that regard. I love what he's been doing so far. It's been, giving him good postseason games. It's been giving the Knicks some big wins in the postseason. We knew RJ was going to have to step up in this postseason for the Knicks to be able to, get wins and get through these series. We knew he was going to have to do something about that. And so far, he's answered it. After games 1 and 2, we were worried. I'm not going to lie. Maybe some of us overreacted a little bit and said maybe he can't start. RJ's answered those critics. He's answered the critics perfectly. Ever since that game, he's put up great performances, pretty much in every single game since. So I just want him to keep it up. And, RJ has a very good mentality, very hard-working, big work ethic. So I expect him to just continue it. I don't expect nothing else out of him. Obviously, I can't expect him to have fantastic games every single night. Again, it's a playoff atmosphere. It is unfair to, assume someone's going to do amazing every single night. That's just not fair. Playoffs are different. Defenses are tighter. This is also a Miami team who is not the worst defensively. So, that's just some things you got to take into consideration. But just looking overall at RJ, really happy what he's been doing. I want him to keep it up. Like you said about his strength, he definitely is stronger than he thinks probably. I think I even said that once, that he needs to realize that he's one of the strongest guys on the court and that he needs to take advantage of that because he can easily get through these guys if he just uses his strength. He can get through these guys. He is very, very strong, very, very athletic. He can get into the paint pretty easily, really, if he just actually, uses his body more. Stop trying to do a bunch of dribble moves or try to do some weird, wacky post moves or any of that. Just use your body, man. Just use your body. Use your strength. You are really strong. You got to get to the paint, and that's what he's been doing. So I'm really pleased with that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. RJ Barrett is someone that should just, RJ Barrett is someone that has the talent level to go out there and be an effective scorer. And it's a matter of just get it done in the postseason, right? Again, his future on this team is something that I don't care to talk about right now. That's something that does not, it's not nearly as important to me as his performance in the postseason, right? We could talk about, the contract. We can talk about, the regular season play if it's concerning, whether it trend upward or downward following this season. in the offseason, right? But I don't want to be in the offseason, number one. And number two, we're not in the offseason right now. We're in the postseason, right? And right now, that's what matters. What RJ Barrett does right now matters way more than anything else that anyone's going to possibly want to talk about right now when it comes to RJ. But with that being said, I think one big thing that, and we're going to talk about game 3 on Friday. We're going to do an episode for that because that's, for some reason, games 2 and 3 are just, it's almost like a whole week away. But, look, going into game 3, my feeling after game 2, like my confidence level with this team, I think is still right around where it was entering the series. I think it went down a little bit after game 1, and then game 2 kind of brought it back to where it was before the series. It's a 0-0 series again, right? Now you're back even, right? And you got to go take care of business in Miami. The guy I'm looking for, and we'll talk about this a little bit more obviously on Friday. The guy I'm looking for to step up here is Quickly. I feel like he's had a quiet series. I feel like he hasn't had that game yet in the postseason. That's been, the Emmanuel Quickly game. He's had a couple of solid performances, but nothing special. Who's your guy that you're looking at? We'll get to talk about this more obviously Friday, but who's your guy that you're looking for to have that, finally just have that bigger game for them, in game 3?
It's definitely Quickly. I 1000% agree it's Quickly. He's been quite frankly nowhere to be found this postseason. It's unfortunate because he had a fantastic regular season. He had a solid game 5 or game 4, whichever it was against Cleveland, where he hit up a couple big shots. He had a solid game there, but that's really been about it. Otherwise, we haven't really seen much out of him. And I think last night was kind of a clear-cut example of, how much he needs to step up because he didn't play a whole lot yesterday. He only played he played 5 minutes in the first half and then didn't really see the court again until early in the fourth quarter. And then, I think he only played a total of 15 minutes or something like that. He didn't play a whole lot, and I'm not saying that it was deservedly so, but when your shot's just not falling and you need points, you got to go to the guy with the hot hand. The guy with the hot hand was obviously Jalen Brunson. You're going to obviously still go to Jalen Brunson more often, but you got to also, I guess, realize that Quickly needs to get these shots to fall. He needs to. Something needs to change. Clearly whatever it is, he's just not figuring it out right now. Defensively he's still been good, which is encouraging. I'm happy that his offensive struggles have not impacted his defense. That's huge. Because, some guys, if they're struggling offensively, then their defense takes a hit as well, and it just creates a recipe for disaster, really, and you don't really want them out on the floor when they're doing that. But Quickly still played good defense. So he's still an impactful player to have out there, but if his offense can turn it up a bit, this Knicks team's a whole lot different. It really deepens up the team. And especially with the fact that it seems like they're going to continue to start Josh Hart from now on instead of Quentin Grimes, it keeps the bench unit intact, and it keeps that high-level bench scoring intact if Quickly can really step it up. What do you think about that?
100% agree. End of the day, right? Looking at how the Knicks have kind of adapted a little bit. They made some small changes in the postseason, but I don't think we're going to see any massive changes going forward. I think this is kind of whatever they're doing right now is what they're going to keep doing until something drastic happens. If this team goes down 3-1, then we might see some changes, right? Because then that's desperation mode. You're just throwing anything you can and hoping it sticks. But until they hit panic mode, there's no reason to make massive changes right now. And looking at Quickly again, just kind of wrapping up a little bit here. Quickly, I think, is too talented to keep playing this poorly. Quite frankly, he's too good of a player. He's too smart of a player. He's too important to this team. I still think on a true talent level, he's this team's third best player, and I expect him to start playing as such at some point during the series. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let us know what you guys thought about Game 2. What did you guys think you guys agreed with or disagreed with? What did you guys think we missed out on? We'd love for you guys to join the conversation in the comment section below. You guys can also make sure to join the conversation on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, you guys can turn on post notifications so you guys know we're coming out with the next video. Of course, the next video will be previewing Game 3. There isn't a game for a decent amount of time, so a little bit of a break between games 2 and 3. Some time to reset, some time that will definitely help the Knicks, especially considering Randle is still nursing himself back from an injury. Hopefully they can get themselves up back to 100% for that Game 3. I know Miami will be doing the same. And with that being said, I'm Ryan Garcia. This is my co-host and friend Dylan Backer. You guys can check out our Twitter accounts. They're above our heads. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.